Well, I hate to say I told you so. Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power review. Amazon prequel is kind of a catastrophe. Give this appendix an appendectomy. Ouch. Really, there was only one way for this to go. And quite surprising, I'm quite surprised that Entertainment Weekly is not showering this with praise because it's a diverse and very stunning and brave. There are ways to do a prequel, and Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power does them all wrong. It takes 6 or 7 things everyone remembers from the famous movie trilogy, adds a water tank, makes nobody fun, teases mysteries that aren't mysteries. Well, those two guys, J.D. Payne and Patrick Nkay, they're disciples of J.J. Abrams. So, mystery box. And sends the best character on a pointless detour. The latter is Uber Elf Galadriel, Morpher Clark, who spends the premiere telling people to worry about Sauron. In response, people tell her not to worry about Sauron. That's 1 hour down, 7 to go this season. Sound like $1 billion yet? Ouch. J.R. Tolkien imagined Galadriel as an immortal elf who leaves sun-swept Garden Paradise because she yearns to see the wide, unguarded lands of Middle-earth and to rule there a realm at her own will. Cate Blanchett played her in Peter Jackson's movies as a Vulcan witch for justice. The new Prime Video series, debuting with 2 episodes on Friday, soldiers her up on a vengeance kick. Millennia before Gollum, Galadriel is the commander of the Northern Arms. Yet we knew this was going to be about her. We knew this was going to be all about her because strong female character. That's why. She free solos up a frozen mountain alongside Ultra Mega Waterfall. War claimed her brother and drenched the world in blood. She suspects vanquished Sauron still lingers and has hunted him for ages. No, that's one thing that didn't really happen. Sauron was lingering, but he couldn't yet take physical form after he was defeated. At the end of the War of the Ring, on the slopes of Mount Doom, after Isildur, the son of the king, cut the ring from his finger. I mean, really, they're not getting anything right. Most other elves think Sauron is gone forever. The wizards thought he was gone forever too. A lieutenant begs her to end her quest and go home because their search party is approaching a land where even sunlight fears to tread. This is not the only accidental funny line, but it's the most brazenly dumb. Mr. Elf Lieutenant, isn't the sun-scaring Shadow Country exactly where you should be looking for the wicked god monster? Yeah, Galadriel narrates a history lesson prologue. There is battle montage, Mordor weirdness, then a hard cut to halfling antics. Listen, I read this through, they lay on the heavy stuff with identity politics with the elves. Oh yeah, the elves should be mixing with the other, the one Puerto Rican elf is from what the sound of it here, is a victim of racism, and he's having an interracial relationship with another one, and really, you're laying it on, yeah. You're laying it on pretty thick here. And we knew that was going to happen. We knew that they were going to screw this up. Yeah, listen, I'm not going to review something. This isn't a review for the record. This is just taking a look at the news articles, the sampling of the news articles. And I'm surprised that Entertainment Weekly is being this harsh. I really am. Yeah, they made Sauron a TV serial killer. What do we want from Lord of the Rings now? Tolkien tapped a well of myth at once elemental and postmodern dragooning, ancient moods of dark wizard fairy lore towards brave new worlds of superior power, planetary terror. He produced 4 proper novels, followed by The Silmarillion, posthumously collated, totally awesome, and then a half-century of the Dead Rider version of Lost Tupac tapes. Rings of Power is officially based on Lord of the Rings and appendices. See, that's the thing. They've only given them this little bit here, and they sold all the rest to something called the Embracer Group. Age only enriches the vast imagination. Sauron All-Seeing Eye now perfectly summarizes the digital surveillance state. Ah, please. And Middle-earth is still full of tantalizing mysteries along the margins with subcontinental centuries of eldritch history boom swept under phases south and the east. You think a new tale would want to explore less traveled corners of Tolkien's wide, unguarded lands, and the Rings of Power does conjure the elves' previously unseen homeland, Valinor. Yeah, but that was the thing. It's always shrouded in mystery. You didn't know. They just left from the Grey Havens. In two embarrassing ways. Well, two embarrassing ways, at least. First, it's a babbling brook where cute kids frolic. Then, it's a heavily light ray pouring out of the parting clouds. The latter is almost a Monty Python special effect. And that's before one person decides, against the furthest stretch of fantasy logic, to swim across an ocean. Oh my goodness. This is worse than this must be worse than it sounds. This is going to be hysterical. This is going to be hysterical. Officious cliff-adjacent elves proffer blank wisdom. The same wind that seeks to blow out a fire may also cause it spread, Nori says Chosen One things. It's like there's a reason this happened, like I was supposed to find him. Rising politician Elrond Robert Aramayo starts prepping a long-wind industrial project which will require a workforce greater than any assembled. Oh, boy. Well, they give it a C- here. They call it a catastrophe, you know. The Hollywood Reporter is a little bit more generous. Oh, it has potential, meaning they want to preserve their access, and they don't want to ruffle any feathers. I've read through these. The Yahoo News says it fails to find its feet. I read through this. Is actually, yeah, they're not kind here. And Time Magazine probably is the most backhanded compliments. Lord of the Rings: Rings of Power is filled with beautiful images and tired archetypes. In the beginning, there's Galadriel. How could it be any other way? As the black screen that accompanies Rings of Power opening seconds gives way to a beatific scene of elf children in white tunics frolicking through golden fields. She narrates the cosmic origin story of a time before evil. At the edge of a creek, in tiny flaxen-haired Galadriel launches a sort of origami swan boat whose wing... Oh my god. Sails in the winds. They really lay it on thick, don't they? It's wondrous until the kids sink it with stones. Later, Galadriel's beloved older brother, Finrond, that sounds so made up, consoles her, crafting an allegory around plummeting stones in a miniature ship, whose gaze is not downward but up, fixed upon the light that guides her, whispering of grander things than the darkness ever knew. Oh my god, they are trying so hard to be poetic. I mean, it's... And you know, like they're gonna ramp up the hype machine because they can't allow this to fail. They can't allow this to fail. You know, they're here to talk about shoddy CGI. You know, environments. This is from the beginning. This seems like a generic fantasy show. This seemed like a generic fantasy show, and they just plug all some Lord of the Rings elements into it without even considering how they fit. But who asked for this? Nobody asked for this. And if it fails, it rightfully so. Listen, I'm not saying I'm hoping it's going to fail, but I'm saying if it does fail, which I think it will, no way they're going to admit to it though, then you know what have you really lost? Yeah, granted, we have the Peter Jackson movies. Those are always going to be there. You could easily ignore this. This new Embracer group who bought the rights, they said they're going to make spin-offs. You can ignore those. Listen, I don't see this being good. I'm sorry. I don't see this being good. I hate being that guy, but I don't see this being good. If it is, I'll gladly tell you. But I do not see this being good. Not at all. All right, like and subscribe. We'll catch you next time.